Kia ora, boys and girls. Welcome to this episode of the Dropped Clutch with me, Ricky V. In this series, I am interviewing metal drummers from all around New Zealand, every corner of it, to get an insight into what makes these guys and gals tick. Tonight is a very special episode. We've got one of the drummers from arguably one of the premier metal bands in New Zealand, at least in terms of overseas exposure, Levi Sheehan. Levi, how are we doing, man?
Good, bro. Good, man. Great. How are you doing, man?
I am wonderful. So to kick us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your band, maybe a little bit about the history and how you joined them?
Yeah, man. So I've been drumming in Organectomy for 5 years now. I joined 2018, just after our first album, Domain of the Wretched, was released. And we've pretty much just been cranking ever since. I replaced the old drummer Jay. He actually asked me to join, which was pretty cool. Like, got his lesson and all that. And then from then had to learn all that because that album's all programmed drums. So went to the shed and grinded out, figuring out how to play 230 for time. And yeah, basically then we did the second album, Existential Disconnect, with me, which was in 2019. And then Nail Below Nail, which was released last year. July 2022, I think. And yeah, we've just been grinding and pushing and doing as many tours as possible, and we're just trying to keep that momentum going, basically.
Sure.
But yeah, that's been my main sort of band since I joined. Kind of shifted focus to that in 2018. Yeah, but outside of that, I've done like heaps of other band stuff because before joining Organectomy, I was a bit of a band slut, just kind of playing in all sorts of bands, anyone that would take me, and playing random gigs. But I think that's very well, definitely a drummer thing, but in particular New Zealand, because it's so small and insular and incestuous, if you will. It's definitely just kind of how it goes around here, and it's great. Great for your drumming to just join as many bands as you possibly can.
Sure. To put my perspective on this mix, having I've not really known you, but you and I have ran in somewhat similar circles, or we know the same people, and I've been seeing you around for a long time. And there was a period of time, at least from my perspective, where before you joined Organectomy, where I was seeing posts on Facebook from bands asking for drummers or asking for a drummer, and I seen you put your hand up a couple of times, and every time from my perspective, it knowing how good you were even back then. It didn't, I was kind of like, oh, you're just trying to get something going. But the moment that I seen that you'd joined Organectomy, I literally clapped. Where I was sitting, I clapped because I was like, this is, I knew straight away that was the band for you, man. And it's awesome to see how well you're doing. Is my camera frozen? Man. Is my camera frozen on your end?
Yes. Am I frozen on yours?
No, yours is still going.
All good. You're in a pensive, thoughtful pose.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Right.
Fuck it, the show must go on. Right, so Levi, what got you started drumming? How long have you been drumming, and what got you started?
Yeah, I was actually asked this today from a student, and I realized I've been drumming over half my life, which is that's a scary thought. But I'm 29, and I started when I was 13. Yeah, I think I just went for a lesson in year, gosh, what's that, year nine. Um, and yeah, I only got a few lessons, like, your basic rock beat 101. And I guess I'd been kind of like drumming on the desks and my knees just along to music for so many years without even really realizing that I was what I was doing. Um, so yeah, those first lessons that I had kind of just sort of opened the door to being into drumming and like actually listening for it while listening to music. Um, and yeah, I didn't really get well. No, I didn't get any other lessons at all until I went to jazz school a couple of years ago. So I'm like completely more or less self-taught just from YouTube and grinding at the sheds. um, and yeah, playing in bands. That's a great way to learn.
Tis,
um,
tis.
yeah, but pretty much after that, I met this fella called Stephen Booth, who has been in bands Depraved and Ruinant. Um, but yeah, we went to high school together and started jamming. Well, we kind of got into Slayer and Lamb of God and Slipknot, etc., all together in year 10. Um, and just kind of went through the motions like, oh, yeah, we should probably start a band and like learning Pantera grooves, you know how it is. And
Yes.
yeah, we kind of just went from there and then um, exponentially just started playing more heavier stuff, getting into more bands. But yeah, it was pretty much definitely owe a lot to that Stephen guy. Shout out, dude. Because yeah, we started. He kind of, I guess, lit the fire within me to start really pursuing music and doing it as a whatever we do, which is cool. Yeah, but
Sweet. So, Levi, can you tell us who some of your favorite drummers are?
and that question always gets me, because like, especially with like Instagram these days, there's just like random dudes that have no bands and are just like some random dude from Brazil, and you're like, what the hell? And I guess the pool is so much larger these days. It's like, yeah, I can mention these dudes, and like no one knows them because they got like 100 followers on Insta or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, man, like the the big daddies, like, got to be shout out to Thomas Hark, man.
Mm.
Meshuggah's just one of those bands that I just can't seem to get over, and that's fine.
Sure.
Um, yeah, he's a boss, man. And he's like, I actually don't know how old he is. I'm gonna say definitely in his 50s. He's a grey wizard,
Yeah.
but man,
Getting up there.
he's absolutely ripping. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, Tom's Hark, man, definitely. Um, who else, man? Oh, like Jamie Saint Murat, also right, Auckland. Dude rips, man. It's like he's world class, absolutely world class, and just living in Auckland. It feels crazy. Like they're like almost too good for New Zealand, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but like you live in Christchurch and you are fucking on that level, man, for real.
Cheers. But yeah, Jamie Saint Laurent, like one of the most like creative, um, what do you call that? Like progressive death metal drummers, definitely of our generation at the moment.
Sure.
Dude rips, and he's a nice guy as well, man. Such a nice guy. Um, who else? Who have I been vibing with lately? Oh, the Leprous drummer,
Yeah.
Bard Kolstad. Yeah, dude, Norwegian ADHD kid. Man, chops galore, like unique grooves. Like I really dig that. Um, how he makes his grooves kind of really uniquely his own. Like it's him playing.
Sure.
I think that's pretty like invaluable as a drummer, especially these days. You know, trying to stand amongst the herd, like having your own unique feel within a groove. That dude's like got it nailed. Like every lick for a song is like, what the hell? I would have never thought of that. What? Yeah. What else we got? Oh man, Mario Gajira,
Yeah.
Mario Duplantier. Oof, he hits so hard, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak. Um, just inhumanly tight. Gajira fucking rule. Always will do.
Yes.
Um, yeah, man. There's another classic. Like George Colias. Just like raw speed and power.
It's
Dude's got
hard.
it, man.
It's hard to go past Niall for
Yeah,
sure.
man. Yeah. Like tried and true classics. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, kind of branching off from that, whose style do you think has influenced your playing the most? And obviously, that's a very broad question. There's going to be a lot of guys,
Yep.
but who do you think's influenced you the most?
Yeah, totally. Man, I like rip off a lot of drummers
Yeah,
unashamedly. It's kind of it's how you progress. Just like take a little bit from a giant pool and kind of make it your own sort of thing.
sure.
Um, yeah, like I guess all the big groove daddies like Thomas Hark, Abe Cunningham, Deftones. Um, oh, Jay Postone's Tesseract, another groove
Yeah,
monster.
yeah,
Um, it's sort of like Ghost Notey style, which I don't really get the opportunity to um, showcase or use in Organectomy, but because it's just savage blast beats and ghost notes don't really stand a chance in that sort of mix. But when I'm playing normally and just grooving out, that's kind of the land I'm living in, the Abe Cunningham sort of linear um, ghost notey groove feel. Um, there's another dude. Another shout out, Sean Anderson in Wellington, depth drummer. Bro, that guy's phenomenal. Him next to Jamie from Ulcerate, definitely my two favorite drummers in New Zealand. Those guys, absolutely right. Um, and yeah, Sean plays heaps of jazz and cover stuff in the Wellington scene. And yeah, my first, I guess, touring band that I was in, the Assassin, we did quite a few shows with Depth just through New Zealand, and I was definitely ripping his ideas as often as I could because he's got it, man. And that sort of versatility, like being able to play, savage blast beats and fast double bass, and then being able to just lay back and play some pocket. Like that sort of versatility gets you through, especially if you want to be a professional drummer, like as a career. You're not going to, well, never say never, but like, particularly in New Zealand, you're probably not going to make a career out of playing blast beats.
No, 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 not
Yeah,
likely.
no, you need
No,
the pocket
yes,
and probably the jazz if you live in Wellington.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you describe your style?
Um, Man, like I definitely I love groove. Like if you're not, what did I say the other day? If you're not grooving, you're losing, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah,
Like, as long as it's grooving, it's great. Like a lot of people don't think blast beats really live in the groove realm, but I couldn't disagree anymore. Any like blast beats can groove, and they do. Just got to place them in the right way and accent them the right way. Um, so yeah, like my style, I guess, is like probably groovy, ADHD fill all the notes with blast beats. But
When in doubt, blast beat, right?
yeah, yeah, man, yeah,
Sure.
all the notes.
Well, speaking of blast beating and techniques, do you have a specific technique that you are practicing or working on growing at this time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always just grinding raw speed stuff because, like, in the modern metal scene, which is just like program drums, everything, and guitarists getting crazy on programming drums, that you kind of have to be a step ahead of them. So, like, for example, some new organectomy material is at 280 BPM,
Holy shit.
which is ridiculous. Like, no one should be no one should be doing that. Just George from Nile. That's we'll leave it to him. But yeah. So I'm just sitting in the shed grinding doubles at 280, trying to get through like a bar and then like a bar and a half sort of thing, just trying to get it clean to be able to record this crazy shit that our bassist has programmed drums to. um,
Good
yeah,
times.
it's stressful. It's stressful, man.
Sure.
Being a drummer in today's scene where it's programmed drums is so lifelike nowadays that you can't even tell.
Hmm.
Can't even tell half the time because they get programmed so well that um and like modern metal albums are often edited to absolute fuckery, so you can't even tell if it's you know one take or a million takes, and it's kind of like a can't beat them, join them scenario because if you were to say release a song that was just one take and like real a good take, true and honest, but like had I don't know, not mistakes, but like flaws, natural flaws, um, that wasn't completely edited. Like kids these days would hear it and be like, "Oh, this guy sucks," you know, because they've grown up with or grown into like Archspire and hyper edited. I don't want to say the word fake, but like
Nope.
um,
Perfect.
yeah, yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but at the moment, I'm just pretty much grinding speed.
Sure. Getting to 280.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
So
yeah,
now we're going to play a game called First, Last, Best, Worst. So it's where you basically tell us the very first show that you ever played, very first gig you ever played, what the last gig was that you played, what your best show, whether that was crowd, how you played, who you played with, and then worst, that can be worst moment on stage, worst show that you played, funniest moment on stage, anything like that. So, what was
yeah.
your very first show?
First, man, it might have been Rockquest. I feel like it was, if you count Rockquest, because it's just one song, right? It would have
It's a
been,
gig, man.
yeah, true. Yeah, it would have
Hey,
been 14, maybe 15.
wow, awesome.
We played a song called Blood Bending.
Okay.
And, yeah, it was actually a cool song. It was like very chimera worship stuff. Um, but I remember I was doing backup vocals for some reason. I thought I could do that. I don't think I've done it since, like just random screaming. But my backup, like my mic wasn't turned on, so it was a disaster. And actually, it might have even been the worst gig as well because I remember we had uh, I counted it in. I think because my hi hats were too open, and like no one knows, no one's ever played a gig, no one knows what's going on. So like I didn't make the four count into the song very defined, so it just kind of sounded like a big sloshy. And like when I started the song, everyone's like, "Wait, what? Oh!" So we got like maybe 10 seconds in and had to stop and restart.
Oh no.
Yeah. So needless to say, we didn't get into past the heats for Rockwood.
Sure. What was the
Yeah.
last gig you played?
Oh man. Um, I actually played a wedding gig Saturday night. It was 80s bangers, basically. It was a covers band for a wedding.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
yeah, yeah, it was like a high end wedding in this venue called the Great Hall in here in Christchurch. Basically, a massive church. It's pretty wild. Like on the stage, I could just see behind all the punters was just this massive stained glass church thing, like a big stained glass window. And I spent most of the gig just staring at that. It looked epic with all the lights. Yeah, it was. What was it like 3 45 minute sets, sort of like a standard covers gig. Not that I do that much, but I was filling in for some guy who just hit me up. I think he found me on an NZ drummers group or something. And it was I hadn't practiced with the band or met them. It was on click tracks with prompts. So it was foolproof essentially. It would just be like everyone was on click except the bassist. So as long as I kept the quarter note solid, he knew the songs and the keys, yada yada. I would just get a click or a canon and then a click and then it would go verse 2 3 4. So like, and it just marked the form basically, um, which meant we didn't get a rehearsal.
Really?
Yeah, man,
Far out.
it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, I was definitely freaking out just a bit quietly because one of the songs I'd never played before. It was like because I'm born in the '90s, so they're all for my time. But most of them, like by the time it got to the chorus, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know this song, sweet. Just from like conditioning from supermarkets and pharmacies, radio, I guess.
So
Yeah,
you're playing along to songs that you don't even know. You're just playing.
yeah,
Fuck, that's wild.
yeah, bro. It like, yeah,
Bro.
yeah. But it was, it was all. If it was a different time signature, I was like, is there any like pitfalls or like things to watch out for? Like, I don't think so. It's all pretty much fall to the floor,
Mm.
and it's just a wedding. Like, since everyone's on prompts, like including the vocalists, like I could probably fall apart and they'd still keep it going. So foolproof.
Sure.
But yeah, there'd be like a fill or something like I don't think there wasn't any like major disasters. There was a couple of like ooh, eerie moments, but that's probably one of the more wackier gigs I've done, especially recently.
Sure. Well,
No,
what's the best show that you've ever played? And you've played a lot, so pulling from a large pool here. But what do you think's the best show you've ever played?
um, man, best show I've ever played. The one that springs to mind recently is probably our last show that we did in Europe last year in Switzerland, which was at a festival called Messuf, which we found out means basically meh, drunk. And it had an exclamation point at the end of Suf, so meh, drunk. That kind of sums up European metal festivals.
Sure.
But it was at the last date of our European tour, so we were like butthole tight, which is awesome. Tour tight rules. And we played after Stillbirth, lovely name. And then that was at like probably 5 p.m. So I don't know how many people, probably like, no, maybe like 2,000. It's pretty big, man.
Jesus Christ.
Definitely the biggest crowd we've played. And it was during, like, the sun was up, 5 6 p.m. That was pretty rad. And having, it was the first time I've had like a drum riser on wheels, which is like standard for festivals. But obviously, we don't get that experience in New Zealand. Um, Yeah, so like there's three drum risers and they've all got like it's just rotating for the bands. So basically I had an hour and a half maybe to set up my kit on the stay on this drum riser and get it like dialed in perfectly, get all my trigger settings just like nailed. So basically like no excuses, which I like to use excuses if I fuck up sometimes. But it was cool to, just have that. You can basically play it backstage and get real comfy on it, warm up essentially, and then you sit on the riser and they just wheel you on. They just plug in the snake and you're good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Fuck, that
that's
sounds like a dream,
how it
eh?
should be done. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not like New Zealand pub gigs where it's 5 minutes to break down, 10 minutes to set up.
the Valhalla 12 band festivals,
Yeah.
far out, man.
They're a good time, but yeah, it's
Totally.
stressful. It's
Yeah,
stressful.
yeah.
And so are you sticking with that Rock Quest gig for being the worst, or is there something that tops that?
It's probably something at the top of it. Worst. Ooh, play some stinkers. Definitely, like when I first joined Organectomy, there was quite a few. Like I would basically confuse slams because a lot of it's the same tempo, and a lot of the riffs they're memorable to me now. But I was kind of new to the slam world. Like, so I would like go into a different section, but like, yeah. So there was quite a few times where I'd like have to stop the song or just like because I'm the only one on click track. Um, like in the first few gigs that we did, there was one in Timaru. That's probably the worst. It was I want to say the Depths Endless tour, probably 2018, and it was winter, I think. Yeah, because I played in my Swan Dry, like
Oh shit.
I'm layered the fuck up, and I usually play in like a singlet and shorts, so that's how cold it was. And I think I just like completely botched it. Like I would have been sober because I don't really drink playing all the next to me. It's too stressful. But I just couldn't. Oh, I thought it was that song. Oh, it's the bit that goes like, oh shit, and just botched it up. And yeah, I think we just stopped and played the next song.
Shit.
But yeah, there was only 5 people there.
Oh, okay. Not so bad. Not so bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes it better, but it was also a shit gig because it's 5 people there. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, actually, on that same tour, we played Invercargill, and there was literally 5 people there at the Invercargill Musos Club. And I was also playing in Dust AD at the time for that tour. So I was doing double duty. Probably why I was confusing songs, just overworking the brain. But there was 5 people, and it was Depth's headliner tour for the new album. And Dust open, and we're like, "What are we doing? There's like no one here. Let's just cut the set short and go back to Tom's house and Owaka and just get on the piss or whatever." So Dust only played like 3 songs, and they were like, "Whatever, no one's here for us. I don't care. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can go."
Sure.
And Organectomy played probably shorter set as well.
Oh yeah.
But,
Sure. Fuck it.
but then I got to see Depth, man. So
Sure.
yeah,
Who are
it was a sick
phenomenal
gig.
live.
Oh, bro, like the most underrated band in New Zealand by a country mile. Love those dudes.
Sure. Right. Well, this is the part of the show where you get to make your plug, say any shout outs that you want to. This is your space, man.
Rad. Um, yeah, well, I don't know what I can say about what we're doing next, but we are, what's that? Yeah, pretty shortly we're going to be releasing some new music for Organectomy um, at the start of our European tour coming up in February with Suffocation, Enterprise Earth, and Sanguis Sugar Bomb. which I recently learned how to say. Um, they're also a rad band. I'm really looking forward to that tour.
Fuck
But
yeah.
yeah, I think we're going to be playing a show here in Christchurch on the 20th of January, just before we head off to Europe as like a single release slash fundraiser show because traveling is expensive when you live in New Zealand. Um, but yeah, and then we're going to be dropping another song at the end of tour. So keep an ear out for those singles because they're super quick, super heavy, all that good stuff, groovy, slam. Um, otherwise, yeah, my other band, Distance, was like a complete on the spectrum. It's on the other end. We're playing at Twisted Frequency the 2nd of January up in Takaka, Cobb Valley. Basically a big old psytrance, doof, hippie fest, whatever you want to call it. It's a great time. And after 4 days of electronic music, we get to lay down some tasty grooves, which is fucking awesome.
Fuck yeah, man.
So if you're in the market for a festival over New Year's, come down to Takaka.
Sure, why not? Any shout outs
Yeah,
you want to make
man.
just quickly?
Just anyone and everyone who's coming to my gigs and checking me out and buying me a beer or what have you. You guys are real fucking A.
Sweet as well. Thank you so much, Levi, for being here. This has been fucking awesome. Thank you, everybody, for
No
watching.
worries.
Have yourselves a great night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, Ricky. Fucking A.